Since I'm still geeking out over the Hateful Eight, I figured it's about time to do a Tarantino marathon on this channel. So let's start with Reservoir Dogs. Reservoir Dogs. Now, Reservoir Dogs is the first movie to be written and directed by Mr. Quentin Tarantino. The film stars Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel, Michael Madsen, Eddie Bunker, Quentin Tarantino himself, Steve Buscemi, Lawrence Tierney, and Chris Penn. The movie follows a group of criminals who are being hired by this gangster and his son to pull off an elaborate heist. Meaning not only to rob a bank, but specifically get their hands on some diamonds. These guys all have to use different aliases in order to stay anonymous among each other. We got Mr. White, played by Harvey Keitel, Mr. Orange, played by Tim Roth, Mr. Blonde, played by Michael Madsen, Mr. Brown, played by Mr. Quentin Tarantino himself, Mr. Blue, played by Andy Bunker, and last but not least, Mr. Pink, played by Steve Buscemi. However, something goes terribly wrong, and now the remaining survivors of the heist meet up at their safe location to confront one another about a possible traitor. Now, from the get-go, I can tell you that this movie is a great film to start your career on. To call this movie a heist movie isn't really doing it justice because you never actually see the heist. You see everything leading up to it. You see the direct aftermath of it. But the actual heist? No. You just hear everyone's perspective on it, which makes you think, well, is he telling the truth? Is he lying? That's some really good writing. It's a Tarantino movie. Yeah, Tarantino has created his own genre, in my opinion. The movie starts out and we're exposed to Tarantino's brilliant dialogue. Now we're sort of used to it, but still amazed by it. But back then, he smacked us in the face with great writing. There's this very vulgar yet surprisingly accurate analysis of Madonna's Like a Virgin and also a debate going on whether or not one should tip waitresses at a restaurant. After that, the movie actually focuses on the aftermath of the heist. Mr. Orange, played by Tim Roth, is critically injured. Mr. Blue is gone. Tarantino's character is dead. And now we only got Mr. Orange. Mr. White, played by Harvey Keitel, who does his best to keep Mr. Orange alive. Michael Madsen's character, Mr. Blonde, who seems to be extremely psychotic and dangerous. And Mr. Pink, played by Steve Buscemi, my favorite character in the movie, by the way, who tries to leave all sentiments out of the game. He's acting like a professional, as he professes himself. Now, this movie is extremely well written, and it has to be because most of the film takes place at an old factory with people actually having confrontational dialogue. And it works perfectly. There's this element of mistrust because you never know who is the traitor. Is there even a traitor? What the fuck is happening? But I wouldn't call it a thriller either because the dialogue has a lot of humor to it, as we're now used to in a Tarantino flick. Besides the storytelling being great, the acting is absolutely top-notch. Harvey Keitel is sort of the guy that the movie focuses most on. He's the one guy who's at the brink of losing his mind because of all the shit that went wrong during their heist. Tim Roth is literally a bloody mess throughout most of the movie. He's laying in his own blood and is about to die. And Michael Madsen's character is one of those guys that you just love to hate. He is so morally repulsive. He's a psychopath. And there's this one great scene involving him. It's very violent, but it's referenced everywhere. It's the police officer torture scene. Yeah, after that, you will never think of Stuck in the Middle with You like you did before. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the film. The movie also gives three of the main characters their little flashbacks. Mr. White, Mr. Orange, and Mr. Blonde all get their respective backstories. And this is my main problem with the film, actually, because out of those three backstories, only one is actually intriguing. I actually think the movie would have been better if you cut Mr. White's and Mr. Blonde's backstory out of the film. Despite me having some issues with the movie, this film is a classic among classics with so many iconic movie sequences. Not only the torture scene, not only the Madonna scene, the very intro of them assembling together and walking really cool in their suits with little green bag playing in the background, that scene alone is referenced to no end. Even fucking Despicable Me did a little homage to it in one of their trailers. But to sum it all up, this movie is funny, This is what we now refer to as a stereotypical Tarantino movie. Great dialogue, great actors with great chemistry, over-the-top violence mixed with really dark humor, and a fantastic soundtrack. And a little bonus that this movie has, which is sort of an advantage to most of Tarantino's other films, there is actually a little twist at the end that I absolutely adore. So all in all, I gotta say, Reservoir Dogs gets the silver medal. It's a great film, I love it, however I do have some minor issues with it. Nonetheless, I have it on Blu-ray, I watch it a lot, and so should you. I really don't think there would be a Pulp Fiction without Reservoir Dogs, which is actually the next movie I will review as part of this marathon, but that's another video for another time. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, and if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then just subscribe.